Mike Vick joining us now. Mike, without any of his receivers, does Baker Mayfield deserve a pass after losing to the Jets?
You know what? This one's iffy, man. I can only imagine being out there without just your starting 4 receivers in the lineup, and that's difficult within itself. But I think ultimately it came down to Baker Mayfield having the ball in his hands, and he dropped the ball literally 3 times. I think he lost 2 fumbles, and I think they recovered 1. Regardless of the scenario, he put the team in a bad situation, and while they were in the game and they wasn't out of the game, they had a chance to win it. It came down to Baker dropping the football and, something so simple, and then this was the game that they really needed. So I think you got to point the finger at Baker. I think he's pointing at himself. He understands that, it was all on him, and he could have done a better job protecting the football. That's all he had to do. It was really simple. Even with all his guys being out, he couldn't step up to the challenge and win the game. So, yeah, Baker deserves some blame for this. He deserves a majority of the blame, but ultimately, I could see the comfort level not being there with all your guys around you.
Well, listen, for first things first, viewers, which if you're watching, I guess you are, the Browns lost because they made the show, and those are the parameters for which we talk about the Browns in long form, so let me address it. Well, it's true. I mean, the last 4 times we've talked about it's been after a loss. But let's address it. Does Baker deserve a pass? Of course not. Of course he doesn't deserve a pass. You win and you're in the playoffs, and you lost to the Jets. Nobody involved in the Browns' operation deserves a pass. Kevin Stefanski doesn't deserve a pass for having a game plan where they throw the ball 53 times with practice squad receivers. The defense doesn't deserve a pass for letting Sam Darnold look like a passable NFL quarterback and forcing no turnovers against the turnover-prone Jets. The offensive line, even though they were without 2 starters, doesn't deserve a pass for not being able to protect Baker. And Baker doesn't deserve a pass for fumbling the ball multiple times, including on a sneak, which if they pick it up, they potentially could score a touchdown to force overtime. So nobody deserves a pass here. This Browns season can be a wild success with a playoff berth. But if they just win 10 games and miss the playoffs because they go 0-2 down the stretch, it obviously is not any type of wild success. They don't have to win the Super Bowl for it to be successful, but they've got to get in the tournament. And they had it in front of them against the Jets, and for a litany of reasons, they didn't get it done. So, of course, Baker deserves criticism for that. I don't care if you don't. Guess who also has practice squad receivers? The Jets. They just call them starting receivers, but they're the Jets. So, you can't lose this football game under any circumstances. And so even given the COVID stuff, Brandon, but nobody involved with the Browns deserves a pass here. Nobody.
Yeah, and I'm not giving you a pass either, Nick Wright. First things first, audience, don't buy into Nick Wright's propaganda. We talk about the Cleveland Browns every single week. They racked up 10 wins this year, and we talked about all 10 wins. We talked about Baker Mayfield when he threw for 300 yards, 150
Brandon, what did we say about the Giants game?
Come on, please. Please, let's not buy into your propaganda. We're not going to do it.
Okay.
And to answer the question, no, he doesn't deserve to get a pass. When you need Baker Mayfield to win a game for you, he loses the game. If this game came down to, let's say interceptions because there was mishaps and there wasn't any continuity between Baker and his wide receivers and tight ends, then we can say, okay, yeah, that's an issue. But this came down to this guy holding on to the ball. That's disturbing. Once again, in critical moments, Baker Mayfield will lose it for you. And then the most disturbing thing of all is after the game. What did he do? And this is why when people say, Brandon, why do you crush Baker? And he's only done something that no quarterback has done in 20-something years. He's led this team to a playoff berth. Like, why are you so hard on Baker? Well, here's the face of my franchise. After a game, they lose, the Jets, okay? This is one bad game. What does he do? He answers one question, talks for 2 minutes, get up and leave. This is who he is, and this is why I can't trust him, and this is why he can't be the quarterback of my franchise.
Okay, first of all, Brandon's got a franchise. Didn't tell me. Should have let me know, because old KW come on and do public relations or something. Here's the thing. We've seen this story throughout the whole year, and we saw it twice this week. When the headline is the team is missing a something, that team loses the game. Broncos like, we don't have any quarterbacks. Saints like, we don't care, we're gonna win. Okay, fine. The Lions are like, hey, by the way, we don't have any coaches. The wide receiver coach is now the head coach, and the guy who was selling popcorn is going to be the wide receivers coach, and Tom Brady blows out the Lions. So when the headline is Baker doesn't have any wide receivers, and then you read down in the story, and it's like, yeah, they warmed up in the parking garage and then decided to throw the ball 50 times, I give Baker a pass. And Mike, here's the other reason I give him a pass. Yeah, he held on to the ball because he's got a bunch of practice squad guys out there. So if he's getting smashed while he's trying to get the ball out, it's different than the last fumble that he had, which was also recovered. So I also give him a pass there. It's just kind of the end of the game type thing. So I give Baker a total pass for this just because his guys weren't out there.
Yeah, definitely a very weird situation for Baker, and I can only imagine being in that situation, like I said, but ultimately the ball was in his hands. They did throw it more than they ran it, and the staple of this offense is the run game. So I would have thought that they would have predominantly ran the ball more than passed it and just tried to find a way to get a win and get out of the stadium. They chose to do it the opposite. They chose to put their faith in Baker, and it didn't work out.
Hey, Brandon, let me ask you something. On Friday, you actually picked this as your upset pick. How'd you see this one coming?
Well, I'm looking at it. The Jets coming off of a big win, and they've been playing really well. They just, they could have won 2 out of their last 3 games. And look, it's one of those games where it's a trap game, right? Where the Browns have been rolling high, and they've been playing really good ball. So, it's one of those things where I just leaned on my experience being in the locker room. I thought it was a trap game for the Browns. Now, I didn't expect them not to have their wide receivers, obviously. But once again, Baker Mayfield, in a critical moment, he loses the game for his team. He could have been a hero.
We got to address that.
He could have been a hero.
We got to address that.
Go ahead, please.
You're right about that. He could have been a hero.
Listen, I have obviously been pro Baker on this show. But when he is screwed up, I've said it. I just said he doesn't deserve a pass when a lot of people today are going to give him a pass because of the COVID stuff. Brandon, you have been unwilling throughout a good portion of the year to fully criticize Cam based on COVID from 3 months ago. But I can say, hey, you got to beat the Jets. You can't say in the critical moments you can't trust Baker Mayfield and ignore the fact that he has the most game-winning touchdown passes in the final minute of any quarterback all season. You can't ignore the fact that against the Ravens, you decided the game ended on his interception in the third quarter and then totally disregarded the 3 touchdown drives when it didn't end. They had the lead after that, so by definition, it didn't. So we're not going to be able to have real Baker Mayfield conversations if when they lose, you go to the hobby horse of this is why he can't be my quarterback. And when they win, you say, but it was against the Titans or it was against the Giants, like the Giants didn't have a top 10 defense going into the game.
Nick, what I'm
or
saying,
whatever it is.
There's validity.
Like, you got to be fair.
Nick, there's validity. There's validity behind what I'm saying. The games are so hard, right? We just talked about this last week.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't trust Baker Mayfield is because the margin of victory is very thin in the National Football League. So when you have a quarterback, right, that can win a game for you, it gives you a chance times 1,000. Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that will lose a game for you. So in the critical moments, whether it's the Baltimore Ravens and the interception or if it's playing against the terrible Jets, he will find a way to lose. That's what I've been saying. So I'm not going to be wishy-washy because they win 10 games.
Why are you ignoring that?
Nick, I'm not going to be wishy-washy. I'm not ignoring it.
Why are
What
you
I'm
ignoring
saying to you is, I want a quarterback that can win a Super Bowl for me. And Baker Mayfield is not that guy. Baker Mayfield's not a guy that can win a playoff game for me, because when a game is on the line, whether it's in the third quarter or if it's in the fourth quarter, and you put the ball on the turf, back-to-back drives to close it out, that is Baker Mayfield. He hasn't shown me, Nick, that he can be that guy that can be part of the solution and not the problem.
I would like at some point a list of the guys, because it sounds like what you're saying is there's 4 quarterbacks in football. Because we don't have to do it right now, but at some point I'd like a list of the guys who you have, because you're all in on Josh Allen and the Bills. And I'm very curious if Josh Allen has proven himself to be one of those guys, despite no playoff proof
he's
whatsoever.
on his way.
So
his upside is tremendous.
Some point I just want to know what the list is.
Josh Allen's upside is tremendous.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.